Hey, friends. I've been reading a book, rereading a book called Way of the Superior Man. It's by Deida. And it's an unpacking of I don't even know what to. I think the best way to describe it, it's a book about masculine and feminine energy and how to navigate life with an awareness of our own energy, of our own energetic core, and of our own energetic distribution, how we have, over the course of our lives, through healthy and unhealthy patterns, formed our relationship to these fundamental energies, this kind of fundamental polarity. And I just listened to the end of it last night, and it's one of those books I'm probably just going to start right back at the beginning and listen to it again for a third time, because especially the last, maybe, I don't know, I'm listening to Audible, so, last hour or so, it was just incredibly penetrating, incredibly resonant with some of where I am in my own life and some of the advice being given, some of the help being offered. Feels quite germane for me. And one of my kind of main takeaways from this last reading is that if, masculine energy is all about purpose and direction in life. That's what it does. That's what its function is. And so to the extent that that energy is what's animating our kind of core impulse to be in the world, we have to be giving our gift. We have to be following that impulse, letting our own inner light point us in a direction and go there. And as I look at my own evolution, as I look at my own growth, I definitely see, on the one hand, I see myself sometimes drifting into a kind of less purposeful state, being a bit fuzzy in terms of where I'm headed. I've done a fair amount of work around not being so goal directed. I mean, if you listen to me talk about piano, one of the things I have to dissolve in order to effectively play is this purpose-directed kind of laser beam energy that just wants so badly to play the piece well, to perform well, to whatever, achieve the next step. And so one of the things I've had to work with in myself is just creating a willingness to let that go, and just be in the moment, be receptive, be listening. And to kind of let the music guide me, let the music take me where I need to go. Not being so linearly purposeful. But the fact is, since that is kind of my core energy, I'm not rejecting it when I temporarily put it, kind of assuage it and come to the piano, come to music with a little more softness. That doesn't mean that I'm rejecting my core. It means that in order to accomplish a longer term kind of growth that really is a direction that I want to go in, I have to transmute the sort of short-term urgency of that energy into something that's a little more long-term, into something that has a bit more perspective and scale to it. One of the pitfalls that can happen along the way is that I'll speak for myself, but I start to think that energy is somehow a problem. And so if I keep that energy from animating me, because, for example, it's whatever, making my learning process at the piano more difficult or whatever, then it doesn't know where it's almost like, in one of those chaos phase transitions where we have a phase of organization and then there's a little bandwidth of chaos where we're in transition, and then another phase of organization happens at a higher level, but in between different phases of organization, there's often a little bandwidth of chaos where behavior is unpredictable, results are unpredictable, everything's kind of unknown, and navigating those transitions, So in other words, if I disassemble or if I dissolve my sort of urgent drive, push to play a certain way, to make my hands, make my body, make music in a certain way, put that aside, let it go, all of a sudden I feel myself, new possibilities come online, but they're kind of out of control. They're not really fully they're not fully integrated yet. Coming back to that energy actually in a higher form is really kind of that's where I am at now. That's the experience I'm having. That's what I am appreciating about this book that I just read, and the sort of description of, in a lot of ways, it's just emphasizing the importance of honoring our core energy, getting what it needs, not pretending like our core energy is something other than what it is, and so becoming transparent to ourselves, and then really putting it to use in the highest possible way, which sometimes means dissolving it and laying it aside, and other times means getting on that horse and riding, going the direction it wants to go. So I think maybe that's I'm manifesting my point. There's a kind of newness to all this that is quite striking. It's quite powerful, and I can tell that my life has a deep drive for this purpose and direction. And I can tell that I've got to feed that. And at the same time, evolution requires that I sit back, that I engage that energy with consciousness, not with unconsciousness. I was speaking to Katie last night, and we were talking about this kind of thing and purpose and direction in life. And I said something about having to fight my battles. And they're really battles of courage. They're really battles of how much am I truly on the edge, leaning just over? Leaning just into that discomfort, just enough. Because that's where movement happens. So yeah, that's where I am today. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I will see you very soon.